Hi there, it's a Thursday morning and I'm asking you to row along with me while I spend around about 22 minutes rowing 5,000 meters on my rowing machine. You can row further than me, less than me, exactly the same as me. It's entirely up to you, all right? No pressure row. We're just gonna get some meters into our legs, okay? So I'll talk more about why and other junk when we get into the row itself, but let's get our machine set up first. So, first up, I want you to go to drag factor, resistance, whatever it is that you use in your machine. Now mine is all the way up at 10. Don't worry, it's because when I put it in the car, when I'm going back and forth to the gym to film the proper MyRow workouts, something about sitting it on the side, it always whacks it up to 10. So don't worry, I've not been rowing at lever 10. Set it somewhere where you feel nicely connected to it, but not so high that you have to tug and heave it, which I would at 10, but also low that you just feel like you're not getting any connection at all. Then go to your foot stretcher height and set them at a point where you are able to get to the front of the machine with your shins in a vertical position comfortably. If you're set too high in those foot plates, it can get a bit tough to get there. If you're set too low, it can be a bit easy to get there and you end up over compressing, your backside escapes from underneath you, you get a less effective workout, right? Seat, I want you to sit more towards the front of the seat rather than at the back. That will help kind of give you a primed posture as you come to the front. And let's hold the handle with a shoulder width wide grip rather than a grip. What is that word? Rather than a narrow, really close together grip. Okay, so a nice shoulder width and then fingers hooked over the handle. All right? I've started to say that's one of the things that's come out of making these MyRow videos, is that's kind of how they ask you to set up the machine, is to make sure and talk about the seat, the feet and the handle. So I've started to roll that into the main RowAlong workouts. So I stop talking, the t-shirt says less talking, more rowing. So let's get into it in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Oh, right. These Puma shoes do have a little bit of an annoying heel cup to them. And it just feel just a little bit unstable in the heel cup. That's okay. First world problems, eh? My comfortable pink shoes are a little bit uncomfortable at the heel. So you can see in the background today, we have the Exr app. I can't remember what the course is. It seems to be, I want to say it's something to do with sunken ships or whatever, but it's very pretty. Something to keep you occupied as you row. And actually, after, was it Monday's row that I did with RowPro? I can't remember. It seems so long ago. I posted something on the Concept 2 forum, just kind of saying about what's the state of RowPro? Has it been left to die? And most people are saying, well, kind of yes, although they were talking about developing a new version. It's kind of not gone anywhere. But everybody did, like Exr does seem to be the app that is stepped in the absence of RowPro. There are other ones out there. But in terms of user base and how many people you see on the water, I wonder whether today we'll just pass another user. I'll try and keep an eye out. Right now there's you can see my ghost boat in front of me. Anyway, so this is just my little 1-minute advert that if you haven't checked out Exr, I mean, like the same way I advertise all the apps that are up here, I'm not showing favoritism. But if your machine can communicate via Bluetooth, just download the free trial, give it a go. I mean, really, there isn't a huge online or certainly app rowing community. I mean, there's a huge online community. If you look at the Concept 2 logbook and the challenges and things, then there are a lot of people who row online. But I think you then do a subset of people who row, and by row online I mean row workouts and then upload their data. It doesn't have to be against each other. But that's where the subset of apps like Exr and MyRow and even the Concept2's Erg Data real-time loop, that's where they come in. And there is still a lot of people doing that, but the numbers are still nowhere near something like Zwift, that at any one time can sometimes have like 5,000 people on like a normal day going around the course. So, but then maybe they're just more indoor cyclists than there are indoor rowers. Actually, I remember talking to the Avalon people about that. And that's one of the reasons that they released a bike, is that it's a bigger market. And then with the treadmill that Avalon released as well, that increases their market share even more for people that use it. Anyway, right, just past 1 kilometer into this 5k row. Remember, like I keep saying, don't stress too much about distance. Oh, hang on, I've got an itchy nose. Sorry. It's like cat hair or something up my nose. Yeah, don't stress too much about trying to keep up with me, or even if you are way past that 5k before I get there, or you still need a little bit more time, that's perfectly fine. You can take that extra time if you want it, carry on rowing while I'm chatting at the end. As long as you've kind of done the core 21, 22 minutes worth of rowing, that's what matters. And let's do our daily checkup for technique. Because again, there are people out there who just could do with a bit of a refresher for sequencing. Like somebody posted on my RowAlong Facebook group yesterday, a video of them rowing, and they looked fit and strong, but the way they were rowing, they'll be getting tired out quicker than they should and not putting in the power that they should. Because they were getting to the back of the stroke and then bending their knees first, tugging themselves to the front of the machine. And what that does is it ruins your posture. It means you're kind of playing catch up to get to the front of the machine. So what you want to do is, as you get to the back of the stroke and the handle comes into your chest, especially at these low rates, think about pointing your toes to the front of the machine. Because for a start, that will stop you from tugging on the straps. So point. And then as the handle touches your chest, let it bounce, rebound, however you want to describe it, but it comes away from your chest again. The same pace that you pulled it in at, let it come back out at without holding it against your chest. And then as the handle comes away, sit up on the seat. And then as the handle continues to go away, tilt forwards over your hips. And if you do that thing of resetting your posture first, it's much easier to tilt over your hips. If you don't sit up first, you can end up with a kind of slumped lower back. You end up rounding instead of tilting. Then, once hands are past your knees and your face is kind of almost at your knees, where your head is, you should be in the perfect straight arms forwards tilt. And you've got that momentum of your upper body moving forwards. So that all you need to do is bend your knees to roll to the front of the machine. It's all a fluid motion here, okay? Everything feeds, overlaps into each other. Handles, sit up, tilt, bend. There you go. Is that someone else? Is that 45 stardom maybe? Can't see from here. But look, other people in the water with us. Anyway, and then slide forwards until shins are vertical. And once you're at shins vertical, keep your arms straight, keep that forwards tilt, and push the machine away with your feet. Don't think about pulling the handle or pushing yourself back. Think about pushing the machine away. That will help keep you connected, forwards tilt, arms straight, until your legs are about halfway done. And that's when you finally swing your body from the forwards tilt to a backwards tilt. And then as you start that swing, that is when you finally bend your elbows and pull into a finish. So arms stay straight, fingers hooked over the handle as you push your feet, and you only pull at the back. I mean, 3/4 of the stroke should be spent with your arms perfectly straight. It's only that pull and return where they're not straight. Alrighty, 2.7 kilometers in for me. What am I at, 208 pace? So we're looking at around 21:15, 21:20 today, if I keep this up. But it'll still be, I mean, once you get past 20 minutes, even at this low intensity, then you know you've had a good session. The shorter it gets, kind of the harder you need to work in order to get a satisfactory workout from it. But like I keep saying, these low intensity 20-minute workouts, if you are doing them like me every morning and you're trying to think about technique, you're making sure that you're putting about 5 out of 10 effort in. This would be kind of like if you were walking up, say you were walking up the Empire State Building stairs, where it starts to really feel like exercise. Heart rate is up, breathing rate is up, but you don't have to stop. Your fitness and your strength allow you to keep going, and you know you could do the entire building. That's kind of the effort that we're aiming for here. Conversational. You should be able to have a conversation with somebody, but unlike me, you will give some time for the other person to respond. Whereas this is very much a soliloquy. Just me talking the whole way through. He never stops talking, Mom. Stop the man talking. So, we can go back to just general chat now. General chat. What's that TV reference from? Leave me a comment below. Anyway, so yesterday I was back at Castle's gym filming MyRow workouts, and I'm really hoping that this time they will pass quality assessment. I'm not entirely sure about Tuesday's workouts, but yesterday's, I really hope. And I managed to do not only 2 rowing workouts, I also filmed a ski erg. Now it's done just as a test, just to see if people care, whether you'll respond to what I'm doing. Didn't really set up the cameras properly. It's like a 2-minute warm up, 5-minute main workout, 2-minute cool down. So not long, but maybe it'll help. I'll get it online quite later today, actually. But I've now got to spend today, tomorrow, editing them all together. This stuff, when I'm filming, it's relatively easy. The hardest part, actually, is keying out the green screen. Then everything pretty much runs without any edits. But the stuff I'm filming for MyRow has 3 cameras. So I have to go into the edit suite now, sync up the cameras, and then I can do it like a live edit, where I just hit play and then use the keypad 1, 2, and 3 to swap between angle 1, 2, or 3. But it's not quite as simple as that, because as I change and look to a different camera, I have to make sure to chase that. So anyway, we'll see. Either way, even if they are still not what they're looking for, it's all, whether they like it or not is down to how I've set up the shot. They like the content, but because I'm filming in a gym, it's not exactly ideal. If you want a nice clean look to the shot, there's weights everywhere. They've even got like the Hyrox podium flags, which I have to paint out. So really right now, I'm making them so we can lock down how they're meant to look. But the good thing is, it's like I was talking about with Tuesday's filming, when I had to do 3 workouts instead of 2. I'm still getting a great row in. It's just the whole thing of this is that I get, well, look at what we're doing right now. I get great low intensity 5K row into my legs every day because I've set up my own accountability by creating the 5K everyday thing. I mean, after the weeks rowing, excuse me, and cycling and filming, I could easily have just said, oh, I can't face it today, taking a day off. But the accountability of making these videos for you, it helps me just as much as it helps you, if not more. So even if I have to redo everything I've filmed so far, I still got the benefits of a great workout. The only thing I'm missing out on really is time, because the amount of time it takes to drive to the gym and then set everything up, black out all the windows. It takes about 45 minutes just to set up the room to be able to film in, and then about an hour and a half to film the workouts. I have no idea whether this interests you or not, but that seems to be what today's subject is. It's just a little bit tough doing it on my own. If only this was summer, I'd rope one of my girls into it, but one of them's got her exams. That'd be a bit unfair, wouldn't it? She's sitting her maths and modern studies exam this morning, and the other one is just at school learning stuff. She's not quite at exams yet. I'd say it brings back memories, but I was rubbish at school. I wanted to play the drums for Van Halen, so there we go, 5K done. Now, I'm not going to continue rowing today, but you can, because somebody messaged asking if I could take you through how I stretch after a workout. So I'm going to show you what I do. You carry on rowing. You can watch this for informational purposes only. Come back to it if you like. I've got there's a 9-hour video up here on the channel, which is a compilation of like 50 end points of my video. So usually in the RowAlong workouts, I'll do like a 7-minute stretching thing at the end. Kind of stopped recently, but I made a compilation video of all of like 50 of them together, which you can follow. Or you can come back to this one and do it. So I start off with hamstrings. So what I do is legs nice and straight. My feet are on the foot plate still. Straps are loose so I can flick my toes back against them. Okay? Then, good posture here. Sit up, hands in the air, and fold forwards. And that noise, you can see I've not even folded that far forwards here. This is just, I really have like hamstring inflexibility. But this is the stretch that I do on the machine in order to get a stretch into my hamstrings. It's important that you fold forwards here. You don't just roll with your upper body, like kind of just curve, because then you don't get the stretch. But what I do is I'll, when I get back home, I'll lie through a doorway with one leg poking through the doorway and the other leg up on the door frame. and then I'll just sit there on my phone for a couple of minutes. But that just holds the stretch into your hamstrings for a couple of minutes. And that kind of helps. This is like a nice little quick fix on the machine. But hang on, how do I want to do it? Yeah. So this is how I do glutes. You can do glutes by having one foot on the ground, bring your knee up over, hold, have a good posture, hold that knee in place, and then rotate, so like that way. But this is how I do it, okay? So I put one foot up on the rail, so it's in between the foot plates, and then I bring that foot over so that my ankle goes into the kind of the crook of my knee, whatever that's called, your knee pit. That's behind it. And then using my other arm, I bring my knee across, so I've got a straight line between my face, knee, and the monitor, and then I hold that in place, grab onto the back of the machine for stability, and then rotate my upper body round, okay? And then that kind of rotation, and I get a lovely stretch down here into my glute. Again, it's important that you've got good posture here, that you're kind of sitting up in order to let that rotation happen. If you're all slumped, then you don't quite get it there. If you don't have that straight line between your face, knee, and the monitor, it can be tougher to get that proper stretch, because it's all really about the opposing forces of your knee going that way and your body going that way. Let's change legs. Do the same thing, rotate. And this is where I always say, can you just check the back of my head, let me know if I'm getting a bald spot? I do feel, I mean, my dad had a bald spot, kind of like that kind of, what do they call it, a monk's cowl or something? Cowl, is that right? A monk, anyway, he had like that kind of circle here. So I do feel very lucky that I didn't follow in his footsteps, although he blamed it. He was in the army, he was an MP, so he always had to wear a hat, like an MP's hat, and he blamed it on always having to wear that hat. He wasn't in the army, but just this was back in the days of doing national service, and that's what he did. He ended up being an MP. Isn't that exciting? A little bit of tidbit. Right, okay, so we've done them. Quads next. I'm going to stand up here. Chances are my head will pop out the top of the screen, for which I apologise. But for quads, I will balance one hand on, if I'll do this, I'll balance one, just in case my head is out, balance one hand on the monitor just so that I don't fall over, and then bring that knee, well, one knee up in front of me. That means I can now grab onto my ankle. I used to do a thing where I'd flick it up behind me and try and catch it, but then I realized one day I could just do this, much simpler. And then try and find your balance. Oh, moving. There we go, that's better. And then you're pulling the heel into your backside, basically. Not with so much force that it starts to hurt, but with enough of a pull that you can feel that stretch down here in your quads. And again, posture's key. Oh, it's falling. This is quite, I've changed the mat underneath the machine. This is my old cycling mat, the Cyclops mat. And this is a lot spongier. That's what I'm blaming it on. Although I am standing on my foot that has the heel problems and stuff, so maybe that's why. That's what I'm going to blame it on. Right, change feet. So again, oh, whoops, can't even get this far. Good grief, John. All right. Oh, and I can see over the back of the monitor now to look at my metrics. So 21:26, 5,015 meters, average of 208.2 at 20 strokes a minute. It's all on the app anyway. But if I said that I'm designing an app right now, I've got the RowAlong app, which is kind of like an information thing and whatever. Do take a look at it if you wish. But I'm currently making an app to control the PM5, to read data from it. Oh, who's that going past? NC. To read data from it and send stuff to the logbook. I've got this time on my hands, I might as well use it. So anyway, right, now we're here, we're going to do forearms and wrists. So push your hands together, try and level off your shoulders, John. Yep. Push your hands together, bring them down in front of you. Oh, how? I've got a problem with my left wrist, I think. And then push your hands together, and you should feel as your forearms get like parallel to the floor, that you get a nice stretch into them, and your wrist, as again, demonstrated by my, oh, ow, at that point. Don't know what I've done to my wrist. It could just be my watch is kind of binding up against me. It could just be that I'm at that age where things just go twang, like my heel just came from nowhere. That problem, that running problem. And we came from nowhere, and then I probably made it worse by continuing to run and then doing that London high rocks. But right, we'll move on to shoulders next, and this will be us done. There are other muscles that you can stretch, of course, but this is kind of just the ballpark of what I do. So I call this the rock star stretch, because you start off going, hey, living on a prayer, and then you bring that arm across you. And then I've got a 45-degree angle now between my arm and my body. Loop that arm round, then that helps. I can then bring that body completely straight across that body, the arm completely straight across my body. And you put in just enough force here. Again, think about good posture, please. Just enough force here that you feel the stretch going into that shoulder. Try and keep it out of your ears so you're not kind of doing this. I know I've got wonky shoulders, but just enough of a stretch, keep it down, and that should get you in there. And then just do the same thing. Hey, wanted, dead or alive. Don't know why I always go to Bon Jovi for the rock star. I think it's because that's what he does. He goes, hey, he always points. Right, same thing, other side. I mean, Bon Jovi, really, when you think about my videos, the most common reference probably is Bon Jovi when it comes to music, because of we're halfway there. I do talk very often about my love of Van Halen. In fact, they came up today when I was talking about how I didn't particularly pay attention at school because I just wanted to be a famous rock drummer. And then I used to talk a lot about Deadmau5, the EDM guy, but he seems to not be kind of as prolific right now. He's not putting out quite as much stuff, so I've not really been listening to him as much. I was listening to a DJ called I_O, and he had great, like really quite kind of hard, aggressive stuff. But it was really good for working out too. But sadly, a good few years back, he died. It was a bit sad. Anyway, right, we're done. Sorry, a strange place to go. So that's a stretching. So like I said, you can stretch your hip flexors if you want. You can stretch your biceps, your triceps, your biceps, your gooseberries, your snosberries. It's entirely up to you. All right, but that's how I stretch my stuff. And that hits the majority of the muscles that I feel get activated, certainly in a workout like this. Hip flexors tend to be, I'll do them if it's like I've been a much longer row, and especially if I've had like a little bit of a breakdown in my technique during it, then that tends to be, if you pull yourself forwards with the straps, then your hip flexors will get activated a little bit. In fact, if you just put your foot in the ground, sit like this, and then point your toes up and lift your foot off the ground, you'll feel your hip flexor right up here activating as you do that. So if you are using the straps to get you to the front, which sometimes like when you get up to like 28, 30 strokes a minute, there is an element of a little bit of a tug to get you forward just to kind of help, or there is for me anyway. So my hip flexors can get a little bit more activated then, so I will then stretch them, all right? There you go. Oh, look, someone's coming past. Who's that? Ice Smith. So you see what I mean? There's been various people just coming past. They're all people that are on the Exr app right now, rowing live. That Ice Smith, was it a female? Is at home somewhere or in the gym somewhere, rowing on the Exr app. So it just shows that the community really is all kind of coming into Exr as the kind of the place to go currently. Anyway, so check it out. Remember, you can get a trial if you use the code RA26. You'll get a discount if you subscribe. But anyway, so like I say, I'm all about just sharing different apps. I mean, maybe tomorrow I'll go back to Immerse You Row. Why not? And show that off to you. And then, yeah, okay, then we're done. So I'm done. I'm sorry. I really do have separation anxiety, don't I? I should really just learn how to say goodbye really quickly. Thank you so much for joining me in this one. Have a fantastic day. Make sure and shower, have something to eat, something to drink, and of course, find someone that it means something to and tell them you love them. My rowing friend in the online world, Gavin, it was his anniversary yesterday, so I can only hope that he said to his lovely wife, Jess, I love you. If he didn't, he should get a little smack across the head. I'm getting a bit violent with my lack of saying, although before I was saying about like punching people for reacting poorly to you saying love them, which again, I'm saying don't punch people. But here I'm saying that for not saying I love you to Jess, Gavin deserves a clipper in the ear. I'm not a violent guy, trust me. Anyway, right, okay. I hope you enjoyed this row. I hope you enjoyed this rant at the end. Hopefully it gave you enough time to finish off your 5,000 meter row. I will see you in the next one, whether it's any of my other workouts up here or tomorrow's 5K row, who knows, or a previous one, who knows. Look after yourselves, have an amazing day. I will see you next time. Take care, row well, be well, bye-bye.